In a land where kings ruled with power and hearts could be both gentle and cruel, a humble housemaid and a reckless prince would face a secret that could change everything. In a faraway kingdom lived Prince Daniel, a young man admired for his charm but known for not listening to advice. His father, King Marcus, often warned him to behave wisely, but Daniel enjoyed taking life lightly. The palace was filled with workers who respected him, though some feared his carefree manner. Among the palace workers was a quiet housemaid named Lily. She worked from morning till night, sweeping long hallways and caring for King Marcus' chambers. She was gentle, humble, and always careful with her words. Prince Daniel noticed her kindness, and slowly, they began talking more than they should. Daniel often followed Lily where she walked, asking questions about her life. Lily tried to avoid him because she knew palace rules were strict, but Daniel continued being close. He liked her soft voice and pure heart and felt she treated him like an ordinary person, not a prince. One night, a wrong decision brought them too close, and it led to something Lily never planned for. Weeks later, she discovered she was with child. Fear filled her heart because she knew the king would never accept such a shameful situation. Lily cried many nights, unsure of what to do. She could not hide the truth forever, her body was changing, and the palace women whispered. She wanted to tell Daniel, but she feared he would deny her or ask her to leave the palace quietly. Daniel, however, noticed her silence and the sadness on her face. One afternoon, he found her crying behind the laundry house. When he asked what was wrong, she finally opened her heart and told him she was pregnant. Daniel felt a sudden heaviness in his chest. It was the first time he truly understood the consequences of his reckless actions. He knew the kingdom would judge him, the king would be furious, and Lily might face punishment for something that was his fault too. He promised Lily he would protect her no matter what. But promises were easy, facing the king was not. The prince spent days thinking, unable to eat or sleep, as he tried to figure out how to explain the matter to his father. The palace soon became full of rumors. Servants whispered, guards watched, and even the queen noticed the strange tension around Daniel and Lily. People suspected something was wrong, and the truth was slowly slipping out. Finally, one of the older maids, who had seen Lily cry for many days, reported her suspicion to the queen. That same evening, Queen Sarah sent for Lily. Standing before the queen, Lily trembled, knowing her secret was almost exposed. Queen Sarah was gentle but sharp. She looked at Lily's frightened face and asked calmly, "My child, tell me the truth. Are you carrying someone's baby?" At first Lily kept quiet, but tears pushed the truth out of her mouth. When the queen learned that Daniel was responsible, her heart broke. She loved her son dearly but knew this act had brought shame to the royal house. She immediately called for the king. King Marcus stormed into the hall with a face full of anger. He shouted for Prince Daniel, and the prince appeared with his head bowed. Without waiting, the king demanded the truth. Daniel confessed everything and begged his father to forgive Lily. But the king was too angry to listen. "You are a prince. You know the rules. How could you do this?" he roared. Lily fell to her knees, crying, wishing the ground could swallow her. The entire palace froze in fear. Just as the king was about to punish Lily, the elderly palace seer entered the hall. She was respected across the land. She raised her staff and said, "Your Majesty, do not be quick to judge. Sometimes shame leads to wisdom, and mistakes lead to destiny." She told the king that the child Lily carried would grow to bring peace to the kingdom. The king, though still angry, began to calm down. The queen held Lily gently, reminding the king that punishing her would not undo what had already happened. The king decided that Daniel must take responsibility. He was ordered to marry Lily or openly stand as the father and provide for both her and the child. Daniel chose marriage without hesitation. He realized Lily had shown him more kindness than anyone else. Lily was scared but relieved that she would not be cast out. For the first time, she saw Daniel truly grow into a man. Their marriage ceremony was simple, but the villagers celebrated because they loved a love story born from courage, not perfection. Months later, Lily gave birth to a beautiful baby boy. The king held his grandchild in his arms and felt his heart soften. He saw innocence, hope, and the future. Slowly, he forgave Daniel and accepted Lily as part of the royal family. The kingdom later remembered this story as the tale of a prince who made a mistake, a housemaid who suffered silently, and a child who brought unity. It taught people that honor is not found in perfection, but in admitting wrongs and choosing the right path afterward. Years passed, and Kofi, the son of Daniel and Lily, grew strong and clever. He had his father's charm and his mother's gentle heart. Even as a young boy, people noticed that he had a special way of bringing others together. Villagers who once argued over land or trade would pause when Kofi spoke, and quarrels often ended in laughter at his innocent jokes. Daniel watched in awe as his son grew, realizing that Mama Tutu's words were coming true. The child would bring peace to the kingdom. Lily guided Kofi quietly, teaching him respect, empathy, and honesty. Their little family, once at the center of shame and fear, now radiated hope. Prince Daniel, having learned the cost of careless choices, began taking his duties more seriously. He visited villages, listened to the concerns of farmers, and worked to help those who struggled. Lily stood by him, offering quiet counsel and reminding him that leadership was more than power, it was care. Kofi often accompanied them, asking endless questions about the world around him. He was curious about the people, the animals, the markets, and the stories of the elders. Everyone who met him sensed something extraordinary in the boy, a gift of understanding and unity. One year, the kingdom celebrated a grand festival of unity, honoring peace between villages and families. Kofi, now 7 years old, was at the center of the festivities. He ran through the streets laughing, holding his mother's hand, greeting villagers, and listening to their tales. King Marcus watched from the palace balcony, his heart filled with pride. The boy's laughter echoed across the kingdom, melting old grudges and reminding everyone of the strength found in kindness and family. Mama Tutu, smiling softly, whispered to the queen, "Even the smallest heart can carry the weight of destiny." As Kofi grew, he faced his first challenge. A dispute erupted between two neighboring villages over water rights. The elders were angry, the people divided, and tensions ran high. Kofi, though young, approached the leaders calmly. He spoke of fairness, of sharing, and of the power of listening to one another. To everyone's surprise, the two villages agreed to compromise. Daniel and Lily watched silently, realizing that the child they had once feared to bring into the world now had the wisdom to teach even adults. The kingdom began to see that the boy's presence was a blessing, a living promise of unity. Not all was peaceful. Rumors from distant lands spread of a band of thieves threatening traders along the kingdom's borders. Fear returned to the people, and even the palace walls felt tense. Daniel prepared his guards, while Lily comforted Kofi, who worried for the villagers. Kofi, though small, insisted on helping. He walked among the world merchants, listening carefully and offering encouragement. His courage inspired the palace guards to act wisely, and they managed to stop the thieves without bloodshed. Once again, the boy's heart had brought calm to chaos. Seeing the boy's natural wisdom, Daniel and Lily allowed Kofi to travel with a small group of trusted guides to nearby villages. Kofi learned about farming, fishing, and the struggles of people far from the palace. He laughed with children, listened to the elders, and shared stories of hope from his own family. Each night, Kofi wrote small notes to his parents about what he had learned. Daniel read them quietly, amazed at the depth of understanding in his son. Lily smiled softly, knowing that their child carried more than charm, he carried the spirit of peace. One day, Kofi encountered a boy from a village that had once refused to trade with the palace. The boy teased Kofi, blaming him for old grievances. Kofi remembered Mama Tutu's words and instead of anger, he showed kindness. He offered to share his lunch and listened patiently. By the end of the day, the two boys laughed and became friends. Kofi returned home, and Daniel realized that his son's greatest power was not in strength or authority, but in the ability to forgive and unite even the most stubborn hearts. Years later, Kofi's deeds became legendary. The villagers told stories of the boy who could heal disputes, calm anger, and teach leaders how to listen. Daniel and Lily watched proudly as their family grew in influence, not through wealth or power, but through love, courage, and wisdom. Even King Marcus, once strict and unyielding, often spoke of the boy's wisdom, praising him before the people. The palace that had once been a place of fear and whispers now echoed with laughter, learning, and celebration. As Kofi entered adolescence, he began training alongside Daniel, learning the ways of leadership and justice. But he never forgot the lessons from Lily: humility, empathy, and the power of listening to others. One evening, as the sun set over the kingdom's golden walls, Daniel took Lily's hand. "Our journey has been long," he said softly. Lily smiled, watching Kofi play in the courtyard. "Yes," she replied, "but the future is bright because of him." The kingdom remembered this family not for mistakes or shame, but for courage, love, and wisdom. The tale of a prince who learned responsibility, a housemaid who endured with strength, and a child who united hearts was told for generations. And in every story, the lesson remained clear: honor is not found in perfection, but in admitting wrongs, choosing the right path, and letting love guide every step.